Trials like that strengthen us, and they give us the ability to help other people when they're facing the same kinds of trials, because we've gotten through it. We've learned, and we can share what we learned and help others.
We'll talk about this and much more today. Welcome to a Writer's Day podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to Writer's Day podcast. My name is Ruth Douthit, and Happy New Year! We are in 2026 now. Wow, hard to believe. I remember when it was the year 2000. And here we are, starting the next 25 years of this century. And I welcome you to a Writer's Day podcast. Sometimes I'm asked why I started this podcast. Well, it's because I was a former writing teacher, and when I left the classroom, I realized I still had more lessons to talk about, and so I started a podcast to talk about the writing craft. And then I started getting contacted by authors asking me to interview them about their books. And before you know it, I was being asked by publishers to talk about their authors. And it's been such a blessing to have all these many authors on my podcast to talk about their amazing writing journeys and their best-selling novels. So that's why I started a Writer's Day podcast for you, listeners who want to learn more about the writing craft and hear from their most favorite authors. So welcome. And if you like today's episode, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Head over and follow me on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and leave me a comment. I'd love to know what you think of today's episode. And head over to my website at artbyruth.com to sign up for my newsletter to learn more about my upcoming projects like Book 3 in my Desert Shadows suspense series, a new suspense series that I'm starting this year, and more. So that's artbyruth.com. And when you sign up for my newsletter, be aware I give away a free book every month, and so you might win a book by today's guest. You never know. Okay, let's get busy. Amanda Cabot, the best-selling author of more than 40 books and a variety of novellas, is here with me today to talk about her latest release, Whispers in the Valley. And so you know the drill. Grab your favorite beverage, a comfortable chair, kick back and relax as we listen to the amazing Amanda Cabot talk about her new book. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm so excited to be talking with my friend Amanda Cabot again. Welcome back, Amanda.
So much for inviting me to be here, Ruth. It is always a pleasure to be with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I think this is about our fourth interview.
Well, I lost count. All I know is they're fun.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, why don't you tell my listeners what you've been up to, and then we'll talk about your latest book.
What have I been up to? I have to tell you before, dealing with some really strange weather. I live in Cheyenne, and we're noted for wind, but the last couple days, we've had gusts in the 80 to 100 miles an hour. So guess who doesn't go outside? That's me. Now, the good part of that is it gives me more time to write, because I can't be out running errands or doing anything like that. So I have been doing a lot of writing, and that, of course, is enjoyable.
I bet. Yeah, that's when weather has you pinned up. One thing we writers can do is take advantage of that time. Well, so have you been able to do any book events or anything at all in 2025?
Actually, I had a lot of fun in early June. I was one of the speakers at the Wyoming Writers Conference, and it had been a number of years since I had been with this group, but it was fun. It was really fun. I did 3 workshops. Now, I have to tell you that doing 2 of them back to back, I was exhausted by the time it was over. But it was fun being with other writers. It was fun sharing what I've learned over the many decades that I've been writing, although I shouldn't be admitting that. And it was just, it was an excellent weekend. I was so glad to be there.
Oh, that's great. Did you all have a good turnout?
We did. I think they were at full capacity, and it as I said, it was invigorating for me.
Oh, wonderful. What workshops did you teach?
Well, I did Great Beginnings, and which was very popular because I told people how to start a book and how not to start a book.
Mm.
And then at the end, I gave them a really horrible beginning that I had written. And I said, okay, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to turn this into a good beginning. And so they did that. Then I did another one on historical fiction. Again, what to do when you're writing historical fiction and what not to do. Because I think we all learn from both good and bad examples. And then the third one was on doing effective presentations.
Mm.
And that was the least well attended, in part because the workshops that were opposite mine were really, really appealing sounding. But I guess because people really don't like doing public speaking and they didn't even want to think about it.
It's still, I think, the number one phobia of most folks.
It is. It is. And there are ways to get around it, but
Yes, that's true. I taught presentation courses at the college level, and I don't know about you, but I found most of my students' challenge was to not say and and like.
yeah. Well, what I found was that some of them told me they would just freeze up when they got in
Mm,
front of a group of people and couldn't remember what they were supposed to say. Or they made the mistake of memorizing their speeches. And you know what happens when you do that. Something trips you up and then you can't remember what's going next. Or you're supposed to have half an hour and the people before you run over, so you wind up you have to cut 10 minutes off. How can you do that if you've memorized it? So I keep telling them, don't memorize, but practice, practice, practice. And nobody wants to hear that.
mm. That's so true, though. And I used to tell my students, record yourself, practice in front of a mirror so you see what you look like, and practice in front of people who will be, give you excellent feedback. Don't practice in front of mom or grandma because they'll say, "Oh, that was the greatest thing ever." I told them, practice in front of someone who will help you and give you constructive feedback. Three things you did well and three things you need to work on. And most of my students showed great improvement by the end. They weren't, rocking back and forth. I told them I would take off points every time they said and that kept them from doing that. But I could always tell the ones, like you said, I could always tell the ones who practiced. They started to really hone their craft and do a really good job.
That that practice, record
Well, I
yourself
find
and
that,
talk in front
uh-huh.
of a mirror. Oh, such great advice.
Yes, because you can really see what your habits are. If you rock back and forth or if you use your hands too much when you're looking in the mirror, you'll be more conscious of that. And when you record yourself, you'll feel relaxed and then you go back and watch yourself and you think, "Oh my goodness, I look petrified," or "I pace back and forth too much," things like that. So, but you're right. A lot of authors like to just stay behind the screen and write their books and that's it. And when they realize they might have to get up in front of people and talk, you know, about something, they panic.
It's because most writers are introverts and, talking in front of people, I mean, that's what performing art. I mean, that's like being an actor and you've got to be ready for it. You've got to be on the stage and do it well. And, actors practice, practice, practice. They have lots of rehearsals. And that's what we're telling people. If you want to be a
Mm.
public speaker, you've got to do the same thing.
That is so true. So years ago when I was a bailiff, I got to sit in many court trials and I got to watch some amazing lawyers in action. And after the trial, I would go up to them and compliment them. They were typically defense attorneys. And one of them, who was the very best, I mean, he was and this was 30 years ago, he was making about $500 an hour. He said, "You know what, Ruth? I took an acting class." And I said, "You did?" He said, "Yeah, because I realized these jurors are so used to watching television and portraying lawyers on television. And so they have it in their mind that that's how lawyers are in real life. And so I thought I better go to acting school and learn how to project myself, how to use the space, how to really get their emotion, can make that emotional connection with them as though they were an audience and I was on stage." And let me tell you, he really taught me a lot about that because he was phenomenal. He knew how to get up and talk to that jury, and he just had them mesmerized. And of course, he ended up winning the case.
Oh,
But
yeah.
right, and that was like 30 years ago, and his message really stayed with me. And so now when I talk to an audience, and even on my podcasting, I try and make that emotional connection with my guests, or I really try and pick up on something that the guests say, and run with that. But listeners nowadays, I'd say there are about three kinds of learners. They want auditory, they want kinesthetic, and then they want visual. And I think that the conferences I've been to, listeners, those of you who want to do public presentations, you must always remember those three types of people in your audience. I went to one presentation of authors and they had no visuals for us at all, and they had nothing for us to do but just sit and listen to them. And for some of the audience, that's enough. But for people like me, where I need a visual, I need like a PowerPoint or something, it was excruciating. And I found myself on my phone or doodling or writing lists, and I wasn't listening to them anymore because that's not the type of learner that I am. So I highly recommend any of you out there wanting to do workshops like Amanda does to make sure you remember the audience. You're going to have some auditory learners who just are fine with you talking. You're going to have some people who are visual learners like me, and they need to see what you're talking about. And then consider the kinesthetic learners. Give them a worksheet, give them a handout, and give them something to do, like you did, Amanda. Rewrite a scene, write a scene for your book, write a first sentence, have them do something. Because those learners, if you're not tapping into them, they're going to fall asleep. They're not even going to pay attention to anything you're doing. So you were really
So,
effective.
so often people sit in workshops, and I mean, I've seen this at I can't tell you how many writers' conferences I've been to, and they're nodding their heads as the speaker is presenting. And you think, okay, they're really learning something, but they're not, because by the time they get home, they've forgotten everything. And that's why they need the handouts, they need the audio as well as the visual. And yes, actually doing something, taking those concepts and turning it into something concrete makes a huge difference in how they learn and also how they think about you as a presenter. Because when they walk out of a workshop and go, hey, I really learned something there, I know how to apply those concepts, they're happy. And that makes me happy.
Well, let's talk about your latest book, Whispers in the Valley. Tell us about this story.
Oh, I am so excited about this book. It is the second in the Sisters of the Heart trilogy. And it's a bit different from the first one, Echoes of Sunrise, because the heroine is coming to Carr Valley. If you remember Echoes and Sunrise, the heroine is Sophia Carr, and she's returning home. And of course, life isn't what she had expected when she gets there, and she has a lot of challenges, but this is her home. The heroine of Whispers of the Valley is Victoria Holton, she was a debutante in Philadelphia. And, absolutely beautiful. She was actually engaged to a very eligible man, but then her father was imprisoned for embezzling from his company. The court took everything. So at this point, she's penniless. Her fiance goes, hey, I don't want anything to do with you. Goodbye. And So she's shunned by people that she thought were her friends. What is she going to do? And she realizes, well, her father says to her, look, you need to leave Philadelphia because the prison where he is allows it's solitary confinement. She will never be able to visit him. She can't even send him a letter. I mean, we're talking solitary.
Mm.
So he says, Victoria, you need to leave. Go visit one of your friends. Well, lives in Vermont, the other one lives in Texas. So Texas is further from Philadelphia, so that's where she goes. And she gets there, and again, things are not what she expected. Um, One of the people that she meets is Peter Mulholland, our hero, and Peter is a minister. There's one thing that Victoria knows, it's she is not cut out to be a minister's wife. Meanwhile, the deacons have told Peter, you really need to get married. As a single man, you can't counsel your parishioners properly, and he's got what we call the following. It's a number of young women who really, really want to be his wife. And so they pursue him, and the deacons go, "This is not good. You can't concentrate. You have to find a wife." Well, obviously, what does he know? Victoria is not the right person for him, right? I mean, why would she want him? So you can guess where that goes. But there is a secondary romance in there, and there is a mystery that is decades old. And Victoria decides if there's one thing that she wants to do while she's in Carr Valley, it is solve that mystery. But it's not easy.
Mm. I love that. I think your readers are going to really love this one. Wow. And so, what was your inspiration for making it, this kind of story and to add that mystery element?
I've had mystery elements or suspense elements in books before, and my readers have really liked that.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, what happens at the end of Echoes at Sunrise, the first book, readers have been introduced to Phoebe. She is Sophia's twin. And they both have discovered that, I mean, they're twins, but they were adopted. And no one knows what happened to their birth father. Now, Sophia's not terribly worried about that, but it bothers Phoebe dramatically. I mean, she just goes, well, I know he was killed, but why? Was he a bad guy? Did I inherit something horrible from him? And Victoria, being a very compassionate woman, wants to find out what happened to this man. Was Phoebe's father a criminal, and was that why he was killed? And so that's the mystery that she wants to resolve.
Mm. Okay, so there will come with that some restoration and maybe some reconciliation. Definitely some healing, right? If she solves it. Do you think that's her motivation? Is to bring some healing?
She does. I mean, she herself is dealing with the fact that she will probably never see her father again. But she's had a happy childhood, and she wants to give Phoebe the opportunity to move forward, and she can't do that until she learns what happened to her father. So, yes, it's healing and a step into the future.
And so, as Christian authors, we love to put those themes of, hope, various kinds of themes in our stories. So, what do you want readers of Whispers in the Valley to take away from this story?
The fact that, I mean, it's an inspirational, so there is a faith element to it. And it's the Jeremiah 11, the story of everything works for the best. I mean, you don't see it at one point. I mean, you think your life is in shambles, but if you keep watching, Good things will come out of even the worst things that have happened to you.
Oh, and that's definitely something readers need nowadays, don't they?
I think so, yeah.
It's so interesting that you mentioned that because I was just talking to a group of friends about that today, how you can look back on your life and remember how at that specific time it was difficult. It was a particular trial and it felt like it was never going to end, that you would never get out of it. And yet here you are years later looking back realizing, but God did get me out of it.
Not only did you get past it, but it trials like that strengthen us and they give us the ability to help other people when they're facing the same kinds of trials because we've gotten through it. We've learned and we can share what we learned and help others.
Hmm. So it sounds like the theme of resilience, strength in trials, and the purpose behind our trials is God gives us that ability to help others. I love that. That's so beautiful. Now, when you're brainstorming a story or getting ready to write, do the themes come to you at the start or do you find them along the way as you're writing the book?
Mostly I find them along the way. I start with a plot and I outline my books. I have write all the scenes and think that I've got everything organized. And I write my first draft, but as I'm doing that, then I find more and more things that I want to add. And as I'm doing the second draft, that's when the themes really come to life.
Ah, okay. Do you get help from outside sources like other books you've read or a movie that you loved or a song?
Probably, but it's not that I'm aware of. I mean, I think it's subliminal.
Hmm. Yeah, I was interviewing a couple of authors recently, and they were saying that some hymns from their past that they heard in church inspired them. I find that sometimes a movie that
Well,
I'm watching, might help me.
for me, it's more like rather than hymns or something, it's more like a Bible verse that really resonates with me.
Hmm.
And that becomes, to some extent, the theme.
Okay. Has your writing process over the years changed now that you are, I mean, how many books have you released now?
Well, I stopped counting after 40. So
Or do you still follow the same pattern after all these years?
I, I still follow the same pattern.
Wow, that's impressive. But if it works for you, why change, right?
And, that's again one of those things where when I'm meeting with aspiring writers and they go, well, what's your technique? How do you write? And I'll tell them, but then I always have this huge caveat, which is it works for me, but that doesn't mean it'll work for you. The
Hmm.
only right technique is the one that works for you.
That's true. And they have to do the trial and error, right?
Yeah.
They have to find their own way. And if you have to change it throughout the years, then you have to be willing to adapt, right?
I have a friend who writes scenes for her book, totally out of sequence. A scene just comes to her and she writes it. And then she gets to the end and she has to put them all back together. I could never, ever write like that. My brain doesn't work that way. But you
Hmm.
know what? It works for her.
Hmm. Yes, I agree. I don't think I could ever do that.
Yeah, I heard your gasp. And
I
it's like,
was like,
yeah, that's
what?
pretty much my reaction. Yeah.
I'm a planner. I have to have some sort of outline. I don't always stick with it, but I have to. Like right now, I'm spending the whole month of December plotting out my next book, and I have it, so far 18 chapters, 3 scenes per chapter. And that's enough to get me excited about the story. I start to see how it unfolds, and I'm ready. I'm so excited to start writing on January 1st. I'm going to start. But just because I have it laid out like that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. When I get to chapter 10, I might mix things up a little bit, or I might go back and reread a few things and decide, no, I'm going to go in a different direction. I've done that so many times. But for me to just head out and just start writing or just go scene by scene like that and mix them around, oh no, I don't think I could ever do that.
Oh, I couldn't. I mean, your approach sounds very much like mine.
I'm that type of a thinker. I typically have the ending in mind. I already have the ending done. And now I have to just go back to the beginning and make it all fit.
Mhm. Yep.
Well, so what's coming next for you in 2026?
Well, of course, Whispers in the Valley is releasing January 8th. And then I don't have an exact date, but I'm hoping for a July release for a book called Beyond the Melody. And this is going to be a little different. It's another Sweetwater Crossing book because my readers love Sweetwater Crossing and hated to leave there, and so did I. But what's different about it is instead of it being set in the late 19th century, this takes place in 1946, right after World War II.
Ooh.
And so it's it's a little different just because of the time frame.
Ooh, now is it going to be tied to anyone your readers have read about in Sweetwater?
Yes, and
Oh,
these are
really?
these are the descendants of the Sweetwater Crossing people. Because when I started thinking about it, I said, hey, I wonder what happened to Sweetwater Crossing 60 years later. Is Finley House still there? Who's living in it? And what happened to these people? So these are the character, the heroine of Beyond the Melody, is the great granddaughter of characters that, well, from Into the Starlight. And so it'll be fun, I think,
Nice.
for readers to see what happened.
Oh,
Changes have gone
wonderful.
to the town and what's happening to the people.
That is very clever. World War II era books are so popular right now. That's a great idea. Oh, I can hardly wait. And I know your readers are probably thinking, what? That's awesome. So we will look for that in July. And folks, Whispers in the Valley releases January 8th. So be sure and go get your copy. So yes, it releases January 8th. So folks can go pre-order it right now, Amanda?
Yes, you can pre-order, and it will be available on KU for people who like Kindle Unlimited.
Oh, great. And can folks get a hold of you to sign up for your newsletter at your website?
Absolutely. Website is amandacabot.com.
Oh, great. And so sign up for Amanda's newsletter so you can find out more about her upcoming releases like Beyond the Melody. Oh, that sounds fantastic. And what other projects she has coming next year. And Amanda, as always, this has been so much fun talking about Whispers in the Valley and your writing endeavors. It's just been great. Thank you so much.
And again, thank you for inviting me. I always look forward to this time.
Oh, it is always a delight to talk with Amanda Cabot, one of the most prolific authors I know, and she's so knowledgeable. I really enjoy speaking with her about her books and writing, and now about presentation, because I can just imagine how fantastic her workshops were. And so remember, Whispers in the Valley releases January 8th, so go get your copy. That's right around the corner. And make sure you sign up for Amanda's newsletter so you can learn more about that next book. She's returning to Sweetwater Crossing, so you got to find out more about Beyond the Melody coming out in summer of 2026. And I hope that you've been encouraged to keep going on your writing journey and maybe try a workshop, maybe try a presentation. But most importantly, keep going. Try and write something every day because, like I always say, someone out there needs to read your story. Okay, thank you so much for listening today, and God bless.